Welcome Maurice. Today I have my Seiko SARX055. Now I've owned this watch for about a month and I thought I'd do a little review and talk about my experience with the watch. Jumping straight into it, the dimensions. It has a 41mm case diameter, 20mm lug width, a lug to lug of 46mm and a thickness of 11mm. The watch features a water resistance rating of 100 meters. However, it is a push-pull crown, so not screw down, so keep that in mind. The watch also has a clear case back, so you can see that 6R15 movement. You know, nothing too fancy, but a great workhorse movement. Now, what impresses me most about this watch, it's got to be the aesthetics and build quality, guys. So if you take a look, a lot of people give it the nickname of like Baby Grand Seiko, or the Baby Snowflake from Grand Seiko's Snowflake, and yeah, you can really see the similarities. So the Grand Seiko Snowflake, it's also titanium. This watch is in titanium. You know, it shares quite a few similarities with it, but at the same time, it is very different. And the watch, it definitely earns its nickname, guys. I mean, look, the soft snowflake-like dial, it bears some really intricate details which shimmer in unison with the silvery white backdrop. So the dial, it's not like a flat or pure white, it's a little silvery, if you kind of see there, which kind of evokes like reflections of the sunlight on snow. So you can kind of catch that. Now the case, it exudes an aggressive elegance. I mean, its lines are sharp and precise. Look at that. You know, its angular nature, it really captivates you and draws you into that splendid dial. Yet when you look at this watch as a whole, it clearly demonstrates an elegance that fits in with any formal situation. And the composition of the watch, it's just so good. It's so remarkable, you know, the dark tones of the titanium case, you know, coupled with its dynamic design, really help emphasize the dial. And you know, the titanium, it kind of gives off a look and feeling of frosted metal, which really ties in well with the look of that dial, a snowflake-like dial. Now, I know a lot of people like to focus on the dial when they talk about this watch, but the case and bracelet are the true standouts in my opinion. They contrast that dial, the soft dial, with all these like angles and sharp, and it provides a really nice contrast. And the case with the bracelet, it's such a cohesive design. I mean, if you can see there, it's not just a case that's angled. The bracelet also has some sharp finishing and nice lines there. So it really ties in well. Now the bracelet in particular, I feel it's much better looking than that of my Grand Seiko. So guys, the bracelet, it's really good. Now a couple reasons why. It has little details, like these end links here. They're all separate parts, okay? But you know, on my Grand Seiko, this center link here would be like a solid part with these lines like grooved in. But on here, in this watch here, they're actually separate, which, you know, makes it look really nice, flows well with the rest of the bracelet. And the center links, you know, they're also angular, so they contrast with these outer links here. They match that angular design of the case. And it's just those little details that really elevate the watch and make it a step above, you know, your average Seiko. In terms of accuracy, mine is running about plus 5 seconds a day, which is much better than the described, you know, minus 15 plus 25 seconds a day of the 6R15. But you know, I find this is pretty typical with Seiko, with this and the Seikos I own. You know, they tend to run better than the specs outlined, so I'm not too surprised about that. And the wearability, the watch wears extremely well. I mean, it wears really comfortably, you know, given its titanium build, sits well on the wrist. And well, speaking of wrists, let's get into some wrist shots. Now I have about a 6.5 inch wrist, so here it is on wrist. It's really light, really comfortable. Now I will say, although it's really comfortable given the lightness of the titanium, I really do prefer like the weight and heft of a steel watch. You know, so just that's something to keep in mind. You know, if you like the heft and feel of your watches, a titanium watch might not be for you, but it is really comfortable. And you know, that tapered bracelet really does help with the comfort as well. So again, guys, I have about a 6.5 inch wrist. And I'll throw it on my left hand, sorry, my right hand, for those of you who like to wear it on the right hand. Guys, you can just see how that angles of the case really catch that light. Plays really well. Alrighty, so what do I think about the watch? Guys, it's a really great watch. I mean, I also own some other Presage models, and I know this gets kind of compared to the Saab a lot as well. And I do own a Saab, and I will say I much prefer this. The build quality is much better than a Saab. The bracelet is just, it's so good. I mean, look at this. If you want to see how good the bracelet actually is, I have a video where I compare this with my Grand Seiko, and I much prefer this bracelet. And the clasp, I mean, look, nice and flush. Yes, there will be like a bit of a gap here, but you know, when it's on wrist, it'll close up like that. But look at this. It does have like push pins for bracelet adjustment, but even on the Grand Seiko titanium bracelets, they use pins as well, so not surprised there. Alright guys, there's my review. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next video.